got started for Kansas. Danny Manning with a three-pointer to open the game up. Right now, Kansas has a lead by the score of 23-8.
Pontiac, Michigan for this Midwest Regional semifinal. 16 minutes to go first half. It's been a battle of three-pointers thus far. Kansas State has hit only 3 of 8. Purdue hit its first 4 shots, including 2 three-pointers by Everett Stevens. They jumped out to a 10-0 lead, and now things have settled down just a bit. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Tommy Heinsohn. And our score at 12-8 right now as Kansas State has battled back and outscored Purdue 8-5 over the last couple of minutes, Tommy.
I'll tell you, Purdue came out like a team with a mission. I feel the motivation of this team coming into the tournament was to go all the way, and they played with such poise and determination and really have showed great experience.
You look at the coaches, Gene Cady for Purdue and Lon Kruger, the 35-year-old second-year head coach at his alma mater, Kansas State. Alley-oop. It worked. Todd Mitchell. And our score is 14-8 and 15:38 to go. These two teams have played once prior this season. They played back in December. Purdue blew out Kansas State 101-72. Will Scott for Richmond misses the three-pointer. And now the Purdue Boilermakers come into this game 29-3, the #1 seed in the region, and a foul on Charles Bledsoe, number 32 in purple.
Well, Purdue is so capable of scoring inside with Melvin McCants and Todd Mitchell, and you really don't know who to cheat on. Everybody, the only guy that can really kind of cheat on is Kip Jones, who's being replaced right now by Steve Scheffler, and this is Gene Cady's version of Twin Towers, and I mean, they are big.
Todd Mitchell back to Everett Stevens, and a quick pass in the corner to Tony Jones, who just came in. Up. Stevens decided to pass in mid-jump, and his teammates weren't expecting it.
Well, he had the wide-open shot, and Steve Scheffler just went to get the good offensive rebounding position, which is what he should have done. Stevens should have taken the shot.
Steve Henson for Kansas State. Ron Meyer will set the lineups for you now. Underneath to the star of the K-State team, Richmond for 2.
Now, this is a man that absolutely has to have a big offensive night. Richmond has got to really get inside this defense, and he's got the great leaping ability, as you see right here, but he is also an outstanding outside shooter. Right now, Purdue has Todd Mitchell trying to defend against him, and that's a tough job.
Richmond will try and make it a three-point play. Does not. Stevens with the rebound. 14-10, a 10-0 Purdue start. They come in 29-3, Kansas State 24-8. Runners up to Oklahoma in the Big 8, trying to join Kansas in the final game here on Sunday.
A 3-2 zone by Kansas State right now. That was very effective against the ball in their last win.
Couple of subs in the game for Purdue, but we'll set the lineup that's on there. Tony Jones, a sophomore, in the corner to Mitchell. Now Scheffler back to Everett Stevens. And the other man is McCants, who has the ball for the turnaround jumper. It's good.
They are really effective at getting that ball inside against man-to-man or zone defenses.
And for K-State, Henson, Ron Meyer is the center. Number 11, Buster Glover, has come on the bench. He's joined by Mitch Richmond, number 23, Charles Bledsoe. And now Troy Lewis comes back in the lineup for Purdue, one of the senior tri-captains. And Fred McCoy comes in, number 44 for K-State.
Well, this has been a furious few minutes of this ball game, and Lon Kruger doesn't want Meyer to end up getting some tired fouls.
Buster Glover, one of 7 junior college transfers on the team. Here's another, Mitch Richmond from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. What a mid-air adjustment. He'll go to the free throw line again.
I'll tell you, he is an amazing player. And he, in the prior games we've seen him play, he's been under control, but I think he knows tonight he's really got to produce, and he's going to take it to the hoop. Now, Mitchell, pretty good defensive player, but probably the best defensive player for a forward on the Purdue squad is Kip Jones.
And number 23, Richmond, shooting 2.
Mitchell goes out. Ryan Burning, the sophomore, number 15, comes in. Richmond at the free throw line. He is really one of the underpublicized stars of college basketball. Hoop freaks know about him.
He was a junior college transfer to K-State, and that kind of hurts you in the publicity department. And then he's been up against Danny Manning and some of the other great players in his conference, but he is a bona fide great player.
16-12, 13:51 to go first half.
They're playing a box and one against Lewis, trying to keep the ball away from him, and it's been pretty effective so far.
Richmond jumps way up in the air for the rebound, but he's on the line. It'll be Purdue's ball to inbound.
Lon Kruger's idea of stopping Purdue is first get to Troy Lewis, because he is their outside shooting guy, and when he gets it going, the rest of them have a comfort zone. They feel that they can win the ball game.
Back to Tony Jones, sophomore. Ryan Burning, he's been bothered by back spasms about 5 out of the last 6 games, but he does have that soft jumper and pretty good range.
He sure does, and with that outside shot, he is going to burn them in this defense.
Richmond shot, no. And here comes Purdue in transition. Tony Jones pulls up. It was a 3-on-3 break. Steve Scheffler, whom Gene Katie says is the most improved player on his squad. Lewis peeks inside for McCants. Pretty good defense by K-State. McCants, Scheffler mistimes the leap. Bledsoe rebound, Kansas State.
The shot will be there all night long for Ryan Burning. He ought to be taking them.
Will Scott, off balance shot, tip no good. K-State rebound is good, and the foul shot. Fred McCoy gets 2. Here's a man who was a starter earlier in the season. He had 14 points the last time these two teams played, and has lost his spot to Ron Meyer recently.
Well, Ron Meyer is a very solid senior with a lot of experience. This man has probably more athletic ability, a better leaper than Meyer, and that's what they're going to need in this game. Some beef under there and guys that can climb on the boards.
Subs coming back in. Everett Stevens, who had 2 3-pointers to start the game for Purdue, is back in the lineup. Gene Katie loved that because Stevens has been in a slump. Burning is out, Mitchell back in. And for K-State, keeping track of all this, Mitch Dobbins, number 41, is in the lineup. And Bledsoe goes out.
Needless to say, both teams use a lot of people, mainly for tempo purposes, to try and make sure that there's some fresh players the tail end of this game. But Katie uses his players really because he believes they can produce.
Lewis, 3-pointer rims out. McCoy is fouled by Scheffler.
Troy Lewis is trying to get on track, but there is a man in his face no matter where he goes on the court. There's lots of other openings to go to right now, and Katie's kind of talking to him saying, hey, let's not force anything.
18-14. Tommy, just to give an overview, K-State would like to keep the tempo slowed down.
Well, they want to take the fast break away from Purdue, and they have to do that with good offensive rebound.
Lewis, it'll be Purdue's ball.
And also by getting back very quickly if Purdue does get the rebound. They showed very well that they can do that in the DePaul contest when they really kind of shut down Rod Strickland.
In that game, they played a 3-2 zone throughout and controlled the tempo of the game and won it the second-round game in South Bend last week. Winner of our game plays Kansas in the final here Sunday. Lewis finally gets the 3-pointer. He tried about 4.
They took off the box and one, and they just were playing a straight 3-2 zone, and that allowed Lewis to get open in that corner.
Back to a 7-point bulge for the Boilermakers. Steve Henson, the sophomore from McPherson, Kansas, guarded by Everett Stevens.
And Purdue will go man-to-man. If they change the zone, it'll be a surprise.
Mitchell on Richmond. The tip from McCoy is good. Quick outlet pass. Here comes Purdue.
McCoy and Richmond are quick leapers.
Mitchell turnaround. McCoy rebound. Kansas State ball. A basket here would get them as close as it has been since the opening moments. Will Scott, who hit 7 of 8 3-pointers in the win over DePaul. Henson for 3. Got it.
That's his shot, too. They've got Henson and Scott. 2 excellent 3-pointers.
In the last 8 minutes, K-State has shaved 8 points off the deficit. And another foul underneath. Purdue scored the first 10 points of this ball game, and K-State has chipped away. They're back to 21-19. Kansas won the first game behind Danny Manning's 38 points on 16 of 29 shooting. Purdue meets the winner, and they're in a bracket with Duke and Temple, who play tomorrow on CBS in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
What a show by Danny Manning here in this first game.
25 points at halftime, and he and the Kansas Jayhawks are gathering now to watch the rest of this one. Scheffler misses.
This player is probably the one that's come the furthest for his ball club this year. He's kind of got the footwork down, and a guy as muscular as he is has really learned how to use that beef and spreads out. He takes up a lot of space inside.
Well, you take a look at him, it won't surprise you that he turned down a football scholarship to the University of Michigan. And Scheffler is out. Melvin McCants comes back in. Here's a man who's been on a tear in the last 6 games, Melvin McCants.
Purdue will throw a press at you every once in a while, and you better be able to handle it.
Mark Dobbins to Mitch Richmond.
What a challenge for Todd Mitchell to be playing Richmond. That's a duel.
In the previous meeting between these two, he did a wonderful job on him and held Richmond to his season lowest, second lowest point total of 14. Here's Richmond. Nice arch.
Boy, couldn't have played it any better, but Richmond has the ability to jump over almost anybody.
Lead is only 1. McCants and McCoy going at it down along the baseline. Well, they finally got him, and McCoy's going to get the foul. I mean, that looked like WrestleMania down there.
That's beef against beef, without a bun. Look at this going, and McCoy's just trying to knock his arm out of the way so he can step out in front. You know, you're entitled to be able to spread your arms out, but not too wide. And that's where they kind of get a little mixed up every once in a while, the officials, as to what is legit and what's not.
22-21 as we approach the midway point of the first half.
Kansas State took a big haymaker in that early part of this ball game and has just hung in there. Was on the rope for a little while, but yeah, hung in there beautifully.
Todd Mitchell over McCoy. And Mitchell limps a little bit as he heads back down. 9:45 to go first half, 24-21. Purdue typically now has 3 players with 6 points each. Here's McCoy jumping in over McCants, gave him a little elbow.
Boy, he sure did, and McCants just backed out of his way a little bit to avoid the foul.
2-pointer. Everett Stevens. That has got to warm Gene Katie's heart because Everett Stevens, one of the 3 seniors, has really been slumping in the tournament.
Yeah, and he told them in the last ball game, hey, listen, I want you to go out there and play like you do in the playground in Chicago. Let it fly, pal. And he sure has come out here today, this evening, and has been looking for his shot, and he's been very effective.
Mitchell gets his second foul. Arizona, you'll be kept up to date on the progress of this game with scoring reports and highlights. Set the lineups now for K-State. They've got McCoy still in there, Bledsoe, Hinson, Will Scott, and Mitch Richmond. And for Purdue, Troy Lewis, Melvin McCants, Kip Jones, Everett Stevens, and Tony Jones. Will Scott.
And I got Tony Jones defending against Richmond, and if he gets his hands on the ball, he ought to be able to go over the top of him.
Now that's 6'5" against 6'3". Mitchell is on the bench with 2 fouls. McCoy. Rebound Richmond, he's fouled. No, foul goes the other way.
Kansas State is very, very quick to the boys. And I think Purdue right now is getting beaten speed-wise.
His second.
And blocking out on the boards.
8:30 to go, first half. 26-23. Ron Meyer getting ready to come back in for Lon Kruger's Kansas State outfit. Lewis. 3-pointer, his second of the ball game.
Well, that box and one really contained Lewis. Right now, he's finding some openings, and they're delivering the ball out the letters, and he is a quick shooter.
Ron Meyer, who for the last 12 games has replaced Fred McCoy as the starter, replaces him now in the lineup. Meyer, senior, 29-23.
McCoy did a very effective job while he was in there.
Bledsoe underneath, kicks it back out. Will Scott for three. Tip is good.
Oh, what a play.
You liked it.
Oh, and no guard is going to block him out. Tony Jones will have no chance.
That shot good. The three. Lewis.
Now, Lon Kruger's strategy is starting to slip away on Lewis. He's getting his fingers warmed up.
What had been a 10-point lead was cut to 1. Now it's back to 7. 7:20 to go, first half. Juan Meyer. Rebound Stevens, Purdue in transition.
They don't pick up fouls with fall-away jumpers.
Tony Jones doesn't score much and doesn't score this time. And Henson will slow down the pace. Looks over at Lon Kruger. Henson was Lon Kruger's first recruit from McPherson, and he kind of plays in his image. Lon Kruger was a two-time player of the year at Kansas State back in the mid-70s. Oh, what a tip. A little luck involved.
It sure was. That was one of those tips from about the belt. That is all luck.
Lewis. McCants. Purdue out of bounds. Take a look at Mitch Richmond at the K-State end.
Here comes a long outside shot for the lefty of screen. Tony Jones does not even think about blocking him out. Just lets Richmond go over the top. He can sky.
32-27, 6:22 to go, first half. Purdue ball again.
Boy, quick double team that time by Henson. They took away the outside shot by Troy Lewis, and Henson got right back down in on McCann.
Hey, it's a testimony to the discipline of the K-State team, Tommy, that when they did fall behind by 10, no panic at all.
Sure, great poise to withstand a great rush. I mean, Purdue was very motivated coming out of the box.
That foul away from the ball on Melvin McCants. That's his first. And it's the team 6.
Foul number 35, McCants, his first.
Second Purdue turnover. 6:10 to go, first half. Our viewers on the West Coast, Iowa, South Dakota, and Minnesota will be leaving us momentarily to see Iowa against Arizona. You'll be kept up to date on the progress of this game with scoring reports and highlights. Foul, Charles Bledsoe.
Nice slipping the ball inside to McCants. McCants on the catch turns, and Bledsoe right there. That looked like a good block.
Number 35, McCants will shoot for Purdue 2 shots.
Second personal on Bledsoe.
Bledsoe is very important because he is one of their key rebounders, and he is an excellent blockout man. So he plays much bigger than he is.
Number 41, Dobbins.
His replacement, Dobbins, is only 6'5" and not quite as good a leaper. So they give up an awful lot on the boards.
Bledsoe averaging 7.5 rebounds for the year, and McCants on the line. McCants is averaging 23 points per game in the 2 NCAA tournament games. That's up from a season average of 14.3. But the last 5 games of the regular season, he really turned it on.
Well, what has really happened, I think, is most teams have elected to go out and try and stop Troy Lewis, Stevens, and Todd Mitchell, and that's allowed him to play one-on-one against most defenders, and he's developed a game where he's going to score against a one-man defense.
McCants with 7 now, and the lead is 6. 5:30 to go, first half. Buster Glover back in the lineup for K-State.
And now Kansas State has got to find some offense of their own. And here's the guy that can provide it.
Richmond pops out, gets the basket, and will shoot the foul.
I tell you, you have to have a big guy to guard him that's quick, too. And you're going to see Tony Jones overplay and spin him back to his shooting hand. Little up fake. That lifts Jones, and that frees up Richmond's shooting hand, and he's going to go over any guard. If a guard's going to play him, he better send him to his left and be able to try and, or at least try and stay on his shooting hand.
Three-pointer, 33-30. 5:17 to go first half. Richmond has 13 first half points. Lewis for another three-pointer. Glover with a foul. 31,309 on hand at the Silver Dome in Pontiac. They're watching an excellent ball game here in the second regional semifinal. 44% from the field for KSU, 52% Purdue, and both teams have gone to the three-point field goal. 3 of 5 for Kansas State, 5 of 9 for Purdue. 35-year-old Lon Kruger in his second year now, after serving as the head coach at Pan American down in the Valley of Texas for 4 years, and Gene Cady in his 8th year as the head coach at Purdue. Gave up, Cady did, his basketball career when he was a football basketball player. Here's Mitchell coming back in at Garden City Junior College. And I saw a quote, some writer this week, Tommy, here in Detroit, asked him, what kind of a basketball player were you? And Cady said, I was a gunner.
My kind of guy.
and candid, huh?
I'll tell you, he is such a fundamentally sound coach. You see his team in the warm-ups, they go through footwork drills, they go through passing drills, just to emphasize before every game, not that it's a shooting game, but it's a total game. And that's what it does in the warm-up, just fortify that thought night after night as they step out on the court.
And that's really probably a background, as Kruger looks on, a product of Gene Cady's background as a football player. He was an All-American quarterback, as we said, in junior college.
Boy, and do they work on footwork in football. But I would tell you, in every practice I've seen Gene Cady run, there is some element of footwork in defense.
35-30, under 5 minutes to go. First half. Here's Meyer. Scoop pass. Dobbins with 2 off the glass. Tell you, this Kansas State bunch is tenacious.
They are a pesky bunch. They put some defense on DePaul, and they're starting to put some defense on Purdue. Now, this is really a true test for Purdue. Find who's open.
Rebound, Will Scott. K-State has never led. They fell behind 10-0 in the opening 2 minutes of the game. Richmond has 13 already. Kicks it back. Henson traveled, and he knew it.
When Richmond gets at the head of the key and he tries to penetrate, anybody that comes to help out.
Time Purdue up by 3. Beside championship basketball tomorrow on CBS, it's championship figure skating. On Sports Saturday, the men's and ladies short programs from Budapest, Hungary at noon on Saturday. And then our coverage continues in prime time tomorrow night with the men's and ladies final starting at 8 o'clock Eastern. Coverage will feature the final battle between Katarina Witt and and Debbie Thomas, and the battle between Canada's Brian Orser and Olympic gold medalist Brian Bortano. I'd like to see that guy on ice skates. Tell you, that guy could get 3-point shots. Remember we?
That's right. We raced with the head on and everything, and the sledgehammer on his shoulder.
Yeah, he's out mid-court heaving the thing in.
They may need him by the end of this thing. The sledgehammer, I mean.
4:05 before halftime. Tony Jones, that's for 2, and the ball controlled by K-State. Henson looks over at Lon Kruger. They are really together. Henson, very much a player in Kruger's image. Now Dobbins kicks it back out to Will Scott. Scott's been a quiet man in this first half. Of course, most of the shots for K-State have come in the free throw line, 17 of 29.
They're looking to get the ball in Richmond's hands, but Tony Jones doing as good a job as you can, denying him the ball. They're playing him deny, deny, deny. Don't let him get near the ball. Look where he gets it now, way out high.
Shot clock at 5. Richmond, big arch. Big rebound, Will Scott, Kansas State.
Guards back in there. defensive rebounding, offensive rebounding. That's great stuff for Kansas State.
Richmond pops out. Jones is a terrific young defensive player, just a sophomore. Ball thrown away, Purdue.
Right idea, but pass was too hard.
35-32, 2:50 to go, first half. Stevens for three. Got another. Oh, boy, is he broken out of the slump. He was 1 for 6 shooting three-pointers in the first 2 games of the championship. He has hit 3 now in the first half.
Well, it's nothing but schoolyard basketball. That's what I do that up in Chicago. I guess I ought to do it here.
38-32. Richmond goes left, pulls up, foul. Offensive foul this time.
That's the way to play Milt Richmond. Send him to his left. Hang on his shooting hand. And when you do that against a good scorer, invariably he gets frustrated. He tries to lean in. That's the easiest way to destroy a good shooter's rhythm.
Second foul on Richmond. That's the 17th foul. Both teams in the bonus.
Back in the box and one defense, they're staying with Lewis.
McCants turnaround. Rattles around a little bit and falls through.
Well, that leaves lots of openings for the ball to be slipped inside as they're playing a 4-man zone and a 1-man on Lewis.
A little bit of a Purdue run again now. They opened the game by scoring the first 10 points. Scott tries to get the screen. Richmond for 3. That really isn't his shot. Tony Jones. Stevens, air ball. Mitchell right there. And the lead is back to 10.
There's the long shot, and Mitchell, the lone weak side rebounder, they had made a move to try and stop the strong side. That left Mitchell all alone on the weak side for the rebound.
7-0 run now for the Boilermakers of Purdue.
You know, if you have a guard defending against Milt Richmond, it might not be a bad idea to try to get him in close to the basket instead of playing the normal forward position. Get him down in the low post a little bit if possible.
Kip Jones back in the lineup for Purdue, and Todd Mitchell goes to the bench. Katie doesn't want Mitchell to pick up that 3rd foul in the final minute and a half. Richmond still with Jones on him.
That's where he was. They got him the ball down low. Now he'll be able to jump over the guard down there and use his wide body on Tony Jones.
Richmond with 15 points. Lewis gets the ball back and is fouled by Steve Henson. Our continuing coverage of the NCAA tournament begins tomorrow with a Road to the Final Four pregame at 1:30. Then a doubleheader for you, for two spots in Kansas City. Temple and Duke at 1:50 Eastern Time, followed by Villanova against Oklahoma. And how will Rolly Massimino's discipline and tempo match up against Billy Tubbs in Oklahoma?
Boy, nobody slows down teams better than Rolly Massimino. I mean, he's got that ingrained in his players' heads. And, you know, tempo is a funny thing. A team that's used to fast breaking, if you can destroy it for 4 or 5 possessions, they start to second-guess themselves. But that'll be a very interesting game tomorrow.
You know, it's an easy transition now because K-State plays in the Big 8 with Oklahoma. And when they defeated Oklahoma, one of the few Oklahoma defeats this year, they held the Sooners to 62 points. Now, OU came back and scored a bundle on them later. But in that, there was a 69-62 win in Manhattan.
But Oklahoma has a very good pressing defense, and they can create tempo defensively and get you out of your rhythm. So going to have to be extra patient there, Villanova, in order to defeat Oklahoma.
Oh, they were impressive last night. 43-34, final 30 seconds of the half. Mark Dobbins pulls it back. Kip Jones with the rebound. And now Purdue with a chance.
Well, Bledsoe's out of the ball game, and without him in there, they're having rebounding problems. Without McCoy in there, they're having a rebounding problem.
Stevens to the Cavs. Dobbins with the tip. Gene Katie's in his 8th year now. Jim Nance coming up at halftime. CBS Sports coverage of the basketball championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by AT&T, the right choice. Sterling, the inevitable British road car. And by the American Express card. Membership has its privileges.
From a land where rare wood.
I think that it would have been more difficult had I not gone to college, in that I probably could not communicate and not understand or not have the educational background to be where I am today. When attending Jacksonville University, I was a player. Now I'm a sergeant, and I supervise 9 men. I look at myself more so as a coach, but it's still a team effort of the guys on my squad and us trying to attain a goal.
Purdue, the top seed in the Midwest, on top at halftime by 9. They had a 10-point lead after they jumped out 10-zip. Kansas State fought back to within 1, then Purdue a late streak to extend the margin to 9. In the backcourt, Purdue with 23 points. Stevens and Lewis having a good night.
Well, Purdue is so good inside, and they're so good outside. How do you stop them? I mean, you really don't have a defense really to turn off Purdue.
And other stats of interest, both of these teams like the three-point shot. 6 of 10 for Purdue and 3 of 6 for Kansas State. And in the paint, kind of an interesting contrast, Kansas State, that's mostly Mitch Richmond.
Mitch Richmond has been, and not exactly in the paint either. He's been shooting from outside, but he's gotten a couple inside. But I think that the inside people of Purdue have gotten some of the key people of Kansas State in foul trouble, mainly Bledsoe and McCoy.
Steve Henson inbounds for K-State as we get underway to start the second half. Winner of this game goes up against the Kansas Jayhawks Sunday afternoon on CBS for a spot in the Final Four in Kansas City. And Ron Meyer gets his first 2 points of the ball game to open the second half.
Now that's very interesting. Coming out of the locker room, trying to get the ball inside, create some foul potential problems for Purdue. Take it to their big guys. See what their big guys will do. See if they can get some fouls on them.
Zone defense by K-State now. And Will Scott out the... Oh, good pass underneath, and the tip no good.
It was a 1-3-1, and Mitchell just sneaked along the baseline and was wide open for the lob. That should have been an easy hoop for him to score. Henson never got down there in time enough. And up goes Mitchell, but Henson got him from underneath.
Number 33, Mitchell.
That was after Henson took an elbow right in the chops.
He's tough enough.
Mitchell at the line. He's a roommate of Troy Lewis. Lewis, Mitchell, and Stevens, the 3 seniors. And between the 3, have won 96 games at Purdue. That's not bad.
I particularly like the poise of this man at the free throw line. He plays well within himself and really never lets anything get out of control.
Now Richmond takes the inbound pass. 44-36. We played a minute of the second half. Richmond tries the backdoor cut. They go to Meyer, and then Mitchell reaches around and fouls. That's 3 on Mitchell. They open the second half with Mitchell back on Richmond. Tony Jones did a good job while he was guarding.
Well, I think Lon Kruger was anticipating that Tony Jones might be playing him too, but one of the things you want to do with Mitch Richmond is stick him in a low post, because he can be a power player regardless of who is defending against him. And he was mainly on the outside in the first half.
There's the pick and roll to Meyer, and he's got the basket. Nicely done. Set the screen, went down, got the pass.
There you saw some of the versatility of Richmond. He can pass the ball as well as score.
McCants can't save it. K-State gets it.
Here's the pick and roll, and immediately on the double team, it gets to Meyer, who uses it with great patience, the backcourt, to score.
Henson guarded by Everett Stevens. The clear out. Henson kicks it back to Meyer. Now Richmond, turnaround jumper. Nice and soft and right in the heart.
Well, they got him on the inside, or they're picking him to the middle on pick and rolls. That's great strategy by Kruger.
6-1 run now for K-State to open the second half. Batted away by Meyer. Hinson in transition. 3-on-3. Hinson all the way. No foul. Blocked by Mitchell. Charging foul. Everett Stevens. Will Scott planted his feet and took the charge.
Well, Stevens had to look back, get the outlet pass, and did take one step, and there's the collision that resulted in the charge call on Stevens.
Number 25.
Gene Katie's going to send the sophomore Tony Jones in to replace the senior Todd Mitchell.
Well, they've got an awful lot of people, Purdue, to use on Richmond. Tony Jones and I think ultimately Kip Jones can do a creditable job on Richmond.
Meyer. That was close to basket interference. Everett Stevens peers inside. Lewis hit 3 of those in the first half. This is short. K-State ball again.
Boy, Richmond got right out there to give Troy Lewis a little bit of difficulty.
31,309 on hand for the first NCAA tournament competition ever held at the Silverdome in Pontiac. 42% for KSU in the game, 49 for Purdue, 24 in the lane for Kansas State, and 8 for Purdue. Will Scott, that's his third three-pointer of the game.
Do not give him 2 steps because he has got a great release. And as soon as he gets the ball at the letters, his motion is already started.
Kansas State has never led. They trail now by 1. They fell behind 10-0, got to within 1 at 22-21. And here's McCants, rebound Hinson. And K-State with a chance for his first lead of the night. Scott for 3. Timeout, Purdue.
At Volkswagen, our engineers believe car and drivers should not merely act, but interact. To them, a Volkswagen isn't a vehicle for the driver, but rather an extension of the driver. Our engineers believe the most important moving part of a Volkswagen is the one behind the wheel. Lease a 1988 Jetta for only $139 a month at your participating Volkswagen dealer.
Here's to the winners, those who move mountains. Here's to the miracles they make us see.
Holiday Inn welcomes you, the people who know that winning at life is working hard at it and living it fully day after day.
Here's to the winners, all of us can be.
Holiday Inn salutes you. Here's to the winners. We're on your way.
Dave, new phones come on Monday.
Right.
Computer Thursday. And I think we're ready for that bookkeeper.
Oh, great. Does she load boxes?
Dave, I got us the extra truck.
My partner, Santa Claus.
You can't always prepare for success, but you can count on Ryder to help you handle it with the right truck at the right time.
What about a driver?
David, you're doing a great job.
Ryder. We're there at every turn.
Don't miss the pairs competition, plus the men's and ladies short programs as the World Figure Skating Championships begin tomorrow afternoon.
James Brown back in New York with an update on the West action between Arizona and Iowa. That game is late in the first half, and the Arizona Wildcats have a 7-point bulge thanks to the fact they've been able to keep the tempo a modest pace one. They can call on Sean Elliott whenever. We'll keep you updated on that action. Now let's get you back to Pontiac, Michigan with Vern Lundquist and Tommy Heinsohn.
46-44, 16:30 remaining in the ball game. Tony Jones kicks it out. He's got the 2-point shot, and we're tied at 46 all.
Well, Everett Stevens threw the defense to him, and that opened up Tony Jones in that man-to-man defense of Kansas State.
That's the first field goal by Purdue in this half. They were outscored 12-3 in the first 3:10 of the half. foul on Tony Jones.
I'll tell you, Lon Kruger has definitely made a great adjustment at halftime by putting Richmond down in the paint against the smaller player, Tony Jones. And they're trying to get Richmond the ball, and he'll be able to go over Tony Jones. That'd be good percentage basketball.
Lon Kruger from Silver Lake, Kansas, about an hour away from Manhattan, Kansas. Played basketball there, two-time Big 8 Player of the Year in the early 70s, served as a grad assistant, then went to Pan American for 4 years and replaced Jack Hartman at his alma mater. It is said that his teams represent the state well and represent him well, and he looks like a state representative.
Oh, they had the primary already.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we had the governor on last week. That was last week. 46-47. Kansas State on top. Everett Stevens to McCants, who was open and has the ball stripped away by Bledsoe.
Just couldn't hold on to that pass. The pass about an inch shy of connecting with McCants.
This has been a game of runs. 10-0. Purdue opened it.
Purdue in a zone right now, and they're going to say to Ron Meyer, it's your ball game right now. And they're trying to take away the inside game of Kansas State. Not allow Richmond to score inside.
McCants from the baseline, too strong. Mitchell.
Excellent weak side rebound. Really just rooted Bledsoe underneath the hoop.
They'll let Myers stand around out there all day long. Bledsoe, it bounced 3 times and went through, and a foul underneath the basket on McCants. Basket counts.
Number 35, McCants, his second.
Second foul on McCants. The Wildcats of Arizona lead Iowa 29-21 in the first half in Seattle.
Man-to-man defense now by Purdue. Okay, shading off Ron Meyer to keep McCants in the paint to try and help on Richmond, and that time the lob pass not good enough.
They tried the fast break, and Hinson got back and took the ball away from Everett Stevens. Richmond drives, rejected by Mitchell. Tony Jones looks over at Gene Cady to see what he wants offensively. Lewis is spotting up for the 3 on the left side. Got the ball now on the baseline. Jones.
3-2 zone.
McCants for 2.
And they spread it out just a little bit too much, and McCants wheeled over the top of Myers, and Myers, not a leaper, not giving McCants much of a problem.
In the paint, Kansas State 28-12. Foul on Troy Lewis. Typically now Purdue, 4 of the 5 starters have scored. Mitchell with 11, McCants with 11, Stevens with 11, and Lewis with 12. And Kip Jones with none.
Well, Kip not really included in the offense. McCants right now being replaced by Scheffler.
Back to Hinson. Will Scott. He's the man who buried DePaul with 7 of 8 3-pointers, and he's got 5 in the game now.
When he gets it going, boy, you don't turn him off.
Underneath, Scheffler kicks it back to Lewis for the 3. That foul on Bledsoe.
You know, this Kansas State team is so good at blocking out. They really lay a body on everybody on the defensive glass.
That's the 3rd foul on Charles Bledsoe. Had to sit out much of the first half with 2. And a big rebounding force for K-State.
Sure is, and they need him in this ball game if they're going to contest with the power players of Purdue.
Alley-oop, missed time. Scheffler saves it. Foul. Will Scott.
Kansas State foul, number 14, Scott, his second.
That's the third team foul on K-State. Mark Dobbins back in now for Kansas State. And Bledsoe with those 3 fouls will go over to the bench.
This puts a lot of pressure on Richmond to really get in and help out on that defensive glass and offensive glass.
Mark Dobbins is caught for Kansas State. That's Meyer. It was Dobbins, the blonde, 41.
Kansas State foul, number 41.
Here's the distribution of points for Purdue. And the fouls as well. Mitchell, the only one in trouble thus far with 3. They got Steve Henson on the baseline. Back-to-back fouls away from the ball.
Kansas State playing a box and one that time, really staying with Lewis, trying to keep the ball out of his hands, and that's the man whose assignment it was to stay with him regardless of where he went. But he ends up with his 3rd personal.
Henson joins Bledsoe with 3 for K-State.
Just Henson just staying with Troy Lewis on the weak side of the court.
Mitchell. Tied again at 13 minutes to go. Winner takes on Kansas here Sunday.
Now that's the man that will have to heat up on Dobbins. That's a good matchup for Purdue to work. Dobbins probably will not be able to stay with Mitchell.
Richmond. Can't get it to full. Whose ball? K-State.
I don't know who blocked it, but somebody got a hand on Meyer's shot. I think it was Tony Jones.
Purdue opened the game by scoring the first 10. Kansas State fought back to within 1, 22-21, but then they fell behind at the half, 43-34. K-State went on a 12-1 run to open the second half, and we've been on the seesaw ever since. Scheffler out, McCants back in.
On that last play, Richmond did Mitch Richmond did a great job on picking up the defense and a man wide open underneath. I'll tell you, he is one smart basketball player. In addition to his physical abilities, man, he is a thinking player.
Scott, who has the ball now, is 5 of 5 from three-point range tonight. Saw that he had 7 of 8 last week. Now Lewis is not going to get a good shot now.
Well,
underneath the Dobbins, wide open.
Boy, it just slid the ball right by Mitchell. What a game this is.
Turned into a dandy.
2-3 zone by Kansas now.
Lewis, difficult shot, and he cans it. You somehow wonder, Tommy, if down the stretch in the final 6 minutes, the experience of these 3 seniors on Purdue might pay big dividends.
They have shown remarkable poise all season long.
Welcome those of you who've been watching the Arizona-Iowa game. We have 11:24 remaining here. Tied at 54. Arizona leads Iowa in the first half. Another three-pointer, this one by Richmond. And Kansas State with its largest lead of the game now, 57-54. K-State opened the second half with a 12-1 run to overcome a 9-point halftime deficit. They took their first lead at 46-44, and we've gone back and forth ever since.
3-1 zone now by Kansas State.
McCoy with a rebound for K-State.
Kansas missed a couple of those easy turn-in shots.
McCoy can't handle the pass. Tony Jones. Fouled by Will Scott. That's his third. Well, you told me at the halftime you thought fouls would become very significant in the game.
Well, two of the offensive players, that one right there, Will Scott, they can't afford to lose him coming down the stretch because he's got that three-point stroke going. And certainly, I'll tell you, the guy that's played very intelligently tonight, not getting in foul trouble, is Richmond. The big guys of Purdue, McCants can't get in foul trouble, and already Todd Mitchell kind of having his problems with fouls.
Buster Glover in to replace Scott, goes to the bench with 3 fouls. So Bledsoe and Scott are there. Henson continues to play with 3. And Mitchell is getting a rest for Purdue now with 3 fouls. So 2 of the 3 seniors are in the lineup, and Ryan Burning has come in for Purdue as well. Here's McCants. He's gotten the cold hand. We saw him last week in the second round game start the first half like this and then picked it up, but he's really cold now in the second half.
Well, he turned that time. They put it off the glass and just a little bit too hard.
See those with foul trouble. Bledsoe, Henson, and Scott for K-State. McCoy. K-State ball.
And they had 2 guys on the weak side ready to rebound that miss. That's how much they're thinking about rebounding.
Time with 9:48 to go, and K-State up by 3.
Mitsubishi knows you want a truck to be tough. But we also know you want more for your money. Mitsubishi Mighty Max trucks give you more, up to 2.6 liters of power, a 5-speed stick, more standard features for less than Toyota, Nissan, or Mazda, even the lowest priced macro cab. The new Mitsubishi Mighty Max trucks. Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice.
Ever since your post office invented express mail overnight delivery, others have tried to copy our eagle. But it's not so easy. Because express mail has overnight reliability that's close to perfect, the most convenient locations, and prices as low as $10.75. Most others charge you about twice that. So if you want a combination of low prices, convenience, and reliability no one can imitate, use the original express mail service from your post office.
Becoming an American Express card member is now as simple as picking up one of these. Because now you can apply for membership over the phone. Membership has its privileges. To apply, call 1-800-THE-CARD.
I want to know where every dollar is going. And MCI tells me where every phone call is going. Every single call.
Until you call, you'll never know how much better a long-distance company can be.
K-State with a 3-point lead beside championship basketball tomorrow on CBS. It's championship figure skating. On Sports Saturday, the men's and ladies short programs from Budapest, Hungary at noon tomorrow. And then our coverage continues in prime time with the men's and ladies final starting at 8 o'clock Eastern. Coverage features the final battle between Katarina Witt and Debbie Thomas and Brian Orser and Brian Boitano. That's tomorrow, early and late on CBS. Sandwiched around more basketball as we bring you the NCAA championship. McCoy down low post. Backs into McCants, turns around and puts it in, and K-State is up by 5.
Wow, what a shot by McCoy. Now, Purdue was out challenging the three-point shooters, and that meant McCants had to handle McCoy one-on-one, and McCoy just went right over the top of McCants.
This is a largely Purdue crowd, and they're beginning to rumble, getting a little nervous. 9:10 to go. Mitchell back in the game now, takes the jumper, that's for 2. Richmond rebound.
Purdue's inside game has not been productive here in this second half.
Two-pointer.
Glover.
Buster Glover, his first two of the game. The lead is 7. Tell you how much K-State has controlled the tempo of the game now. We've played more than half the second half, and Purdue, averaging 97 in the tournament, has scored 11 points. 11 points in the first 11 minutes, and now make it 14. Troy Lewis.
This is the man that has to heat up, needless to say, from the outside, but they have stopped him at different parts of this ball game by playing him in his jersey.
Kansas State came in with the worst bench scoring in the tournament. They've gotten 14 tonight.
Well, McCoy is the guy, and he's getting great position inside on McCants. What a spread out.
Glover back to Henson. We welcome those of you who've been watching Arizona, Iowa at halftime. Our score now 64 to 57. Arizona leads in that other game over Iowa. And the Kansas State Wildcats have been on a surge in the second half. Mitch Richmond just hit a three-pointer, another turnover, and a 7-point K-State lead at the current time with a player down.
McCants just ran him over with the ball. Let's take a peek at this. Here's McCants turning in on Henson and gets a knee right in the stomach.
Number 21, Stevens in for Purdue.
Wow.
Steve Henson, the sophomore point guard, is down after the collision with McCants. Just a recap for you, especially those of you who've been watching Arizona, Iowa. Purdue had a 9-point lead, 43-34 at halftime. In the second half, KSU has hit 60% from the field to Purdue's 42%. Will Scott, 5 of 5 for three-pointers. He's 17 of 24 in the tournament. The Wildcats of K-State went on a 12-1 run to open this half, and they took their first lead of the game, 46-44. Seesawed until the last couple of minutes when K-State has assumed control. Here's the injury again.
Right in the stomach. Oh, that'll knock the wind out of you for about 10 minutes.
Oh, that's right below the rib cage.
Oh.
So Henson, who rarely sits down, averages about 38.5 minutes a game, will rest now.
The guy that's been outstanding for Kansas State is Richmond. He's been unbelievable inside and outside, and here's the press by Purdue, and K-State beats it easily.
64-57, 7:15 to go. Purdue, the #1 seed in the Midwest, 29-3 for the year. Kansas State, 24-8. Back on December 20th, Purdue knocked off Kansas State by 29 points at home in West Lafayette. Lon Kruger said that was the low point of our season. Richmond leans in. Boy, he's learned that shot.
Boy, a lean in, a little up fake, and you couldn't have played it any better than Mitchell. But not to be denied, Richmond, he's having a day, a week, a month, a career.
26 points for Richmond. He's been over 37 times in his 2-year career at K-State. He's a junior college transfer from Fort Lauderdale. Lewis thinks about the three. Glover comes out on him. Shot good before the shot. Don Shea is the official. There's Mitch Richmond, Moberly Junior College. Broke the all-time single-season scoring record this year. That was held previously by Bob Boozer.
25, Tony Jones in for Purdue.
That was a long time ago, boy. Here's his last shot. Good up fake, and then leans in. If Mitchell had held his ground, they probably would have called an offensive foul on Richmond. But Mitchell is very reluctant to pick up, what is it, his 4th foul? So he just backed off.
Troy Lewis at the line, cuts the lead to 8.
The inside game of Purdue has just not produced like it has in prior games in this tournament. McCants is just not having a good shooting night.
McCants 1 of 5, Tommy, in the second half.
They had lots of opportunities.
Beat the press with ease.
Yep. Found the open man. Lots of poise. The traps didn't work. Didn't bother anybody.
Temple, the number 1 seed in the East, is in the round of 8. Oklahoma, the number 1 seed in the Southeast, is in the round of 8. Arizona leads in the West at halftime, and Purdue's in trouble here. Dobbins. Purdue ball.
Well, Purdue right now, with Kip Jones being on the bench and Tony Jones being in the lineup, is giving up something on the boards. And Kansas State has their rebounding team in there with Mitch Richmond and McCoy.
In the first 2 tournament games, K-State got 3 off the bench. And you saw the difference, 14 tonight. Now this very experienced Purdue Boilermaker team, 3 seniors. They have 4 1,000-point scorers in the lineup. And the shots are not falling.
Well, I tell you, right now, Purdue is starting to aim, and that's not playing free and easy basketball. They're getting nervous.
They've got Katie up and pacing on the bench. 5:28 to go. 6 of 15 in this half for Purdue. Richmond or Stevens? Neither knows.
Purdue foul number 21.
Everett Stevens. That's his second. Our continuing coverage of the NCAA tournament begins tomorrow with the Road to the Final Four pregame show at 1:30, then a doubleheader for 2 spots in Kansas City. First game, Temple at Duke, followed by Villanova and Oklahoma. That starts tomorrow at 1:30 on CBS, the home of the NCAA championship.
Well, one of the things that Gene Katie's got to be concerned about right now is trying to reinvigorate that inside game. Get McCants going, but they first have to make a couple of stops down here and make a couple of takeaways from Kansas State. Kansas State is just playing with lots of poise and patience.
Will Scott, the man with the ball, has 3 3-pointers in this half. That and Mitch Richmond's play has propelled K-State to this 7-point lead. 4:50 to go. Myers short. Rebound Purdue.
No shot for Myers there.
Stevens goes all the way. Basket is good.
That's not a bad idea. Both Troy Lewis and Everett Stevens have found that they can penetrate against this Kansas State defense, which spreads out a little bit. Now, while he's up in the air, Myers walks in underneath them, scored a basket, has a chance for a 3-point play.
.76% free throw shooter for the year. The lead is now down to 4. Katie's going to do some coaching. So is Kruger.
You really have to be careful out there. The road's full of surprises. Since I got Michelin's, I feel in control, sure of myself and my car. Look, no tire can stop surprises. I know, but with Michelin's, you can be ready for them.
Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Billy D. Williams talks about Colt 45.
There are 2 rules to remember if you want to have a good time. Rule number 1, never run out of Colt 45. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. You want to know why you should keep plenty of Colt 45 on hand? You never know when friends might show up. I don't claim you can have a better time with Colt 45 than without it. But why take chances?
The power of Colt 45. It works every time. From a land where rare wood and fine leather have defined luxury
luxury for centuries. Where craftsmanship is the most precious gift a father can bestow a son. Where they revere tradition, yet reserve the right to change it. A car like the Sterling was almost inevitable.
When Everett Stevens was a little boy in Evanston, Illinois, that lady, his mother, would go in the backyard while Everett was practicing basketball. She would announce lineups and sing the national anthem for him. And the dream became full circle in this, his senior season. In his final home game against Minnesota, Maddie Stevens, who's hiding her face right now in terror at this game, sang the national anthem for her son's last game at Purdue.
Got him right in the proper frame of mind in the backyard.
She doesn't want to look.
No.
Lead is 4. 4.5 to go. Winner plays Kansas on Sunday here in Pontiac. K-State used a 12-1 run to take its first lead. The lead was as many as 7.
Right now, Kansas State has got the rebound edge, I think, on Purdue.
29-27, K-State.
I mean, on the court right now with their personnel. Now, that could be a big factor as you work the clock down, take a shot, and maybe get it back again.
Oh, Henson's shot blocked by Everett Stevens. 3 on 2. Stevens has Mitchell, can't get it there.
He got fouled.
3 on 1. Lewis back. The dish to Scott. 2. 4-point play. Lead is 6 with 3:33 to go. Ron Meyer, senior from Wichita. That's his third. 4 KSU players now with 4 fouls, 3 fouls.
Well, McCoy was pretty effective at doing a job on McCants. Myers moves his feet perhaps a little bit better in the defense, but you can't foul him in there.
3:32 to go, 31,000 plus on hand at the Silverdome. Both teams with 4 timeouts, no fouls to give by either one, and the possession arrow points toward Purdue. Melvin McCants.
Now, one thing you can't really do in a ball game like this is give up on your good inside player, even though he's had a kind of a woeful shooting half right now. Poor mom.
If she won't look when Everett Stevens is at the line, she's darn sure not going to look when Melvin McCants is at the line. The lead is 4. 3:28 to go.
Well, they're just doing a great job of denying Richmond the ball right now. That's Tony Jones keeping it away from him. Work the clock down. Last time Henson had to take the one-on-one situation instead of Richmond.
Will Scott back to Meyer. 15 on the shot clock. 3:02 to go in the game. The lead is 4. Scott short. Purdue ball.
Big play.
2:45 to go.
Great rebound that time by Todd Mitchell. Kansas State still in that zone, and McCants roaming around in the middle of it.
Skip pass underneath to Mitchell. Meyer blocks it. Mitchell rebound. Foul. He'll shoot 2. Henson picked up the foul.
Boy, and there were 5 purple jerseys down there challenging on the boards. Take a look at this. The ball goes along the baseline to Mitchell. He gets his shot up and away. Then he comes back with the rebound, and look at how many people are hanging around him. Ends up have to shoot 2 to score.
Todd Mitchell, the senior from Toledo, Ohio, 1 of 2 tonight. That one didn't have a chance.
Boy, that was way off to the right.
For the season, Mitchell is 72% free throw shooter. This is not an outstanding free throw shooting team. They're hitting 68% over the course of the year. Missed them both. Rebound Richmond.
2 big misses.
The lead still at 4, 2:15 to play.
Timeout, Kansas State.
Timeout, Kansas State. And the Wildcats are up by 4.
Every night while you're sleeping, UPS is maintaining its status as the only company that delivers overnight to every address coast to coast. And now we guarantee it. Introducing UPS Next Day Air Guaranteed. And because we're so efficient, we'll still do it for up to half what other companies charge, which is guaranteed to cause our competition some sleepless nights. UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
Introducing new Extra Gold. Brewery fresh draft beer that'll get your attention. A full tilt taste with something extra that only one great draft beer can deliver. If you like to drink beer, I mean really like to drink beer, then run, don't walk to your favorite store and ask for new Extra Gold draft. It's the biggest taste that's happened to beer since they put it in cans.
What would you get if you crossed an Oldsmobile like this with an Oldsmobile like this? You'd get an Oldsmobile that
Winner of this game goes on to meet Kansas in the Midwest Regional Final on Sunday afternoon. If it's Kansas State, it would be the 4th time they've played this year. And K-State defeated Kansas in the Big 8 tournament earlier in Kansas City. Purdue, of course, the #1 seed, trailing by 4 with 2:15 to go. Gene Katie's wife, Patricia, among those who are here. She doesn't want to look either. She's the lady on the left and his daughter on the right.
One was saying the prayers, I'll say that.
Steve Henson has the ball for K-State.
Little trap defense now, trying to create a little havoc with Kansas State, take them out of their rhythm.
Under 2 minutes.
They finally got the ball to Richmond.
Tony Jones continues to guard Richmond. Shot clock at 12. Richmond rims out, foul underneath. We welcome some of you who've been watching Arizona, Iowa. Our score 68-64, Kansas State. Arizona leads Iowa by 8, 46-38. We have 1:42 remaining in this game. K-State overcame a 9-point halftime deficit to go on top for the first time at 46-44. KSU with 2 timeouts left, with Purdue with 3, no fouls to give, and the possession arrow points toward Purdue. And Juan Meyer at the line. He's a 68% free throw shooter. K-State has not been at the line much. They're now 5 of 8 for the night. In contrast, that man's team is 9 of 15.
They really have not taken the ball to the hoop an awful lot, except McCoy. And Richmond has been jumping over people, so nobody's even come close to getting a hand on him. But I'll tell you right now, Purdue has got to find something inside.
Or Stevens' three-pointer.
All right.
Lead is 2. I'll bet you Matty Stevens was looking on that one.
You're going to get a lesson about intimidation.
86 seconds remaining here at the Silverdome in Pontiac. K-State hangs on now to a 2-point lead, but Purdue is on a 10-2 run. They were down 66-57, and it's now 69-67. Tommy?
And Kip Jones is in for Purdue. They're going to press, take Mitchell out of there. Kip Jones, excellent press man. The total deny right now, and they may just have trouble getting the ball inbounds, and they're forced to call a timeout.
They call timeout just before the 5 seconds elapsed. Katie wanted the turnover called.
That was a good planned strategy that time. Total deny. That's the first time that Purdue's shown that type of defense in this ball game. And Bledsoe just could not find an open man with Kip Jones in his face.
That leaves Kansas State with 1 timeout left now and still 1:26 remaining. 31,309 on hand in the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan for this Midwest Regional semifinal. And K-State used a 12-1 run opening the second half to go into the lead for the first time. They have not trailed since midway through the second half. KSU with 1 timeout left, Purdue with 2. No fouls to give, and the possession arrow Purdue's favor.
Well, if they try the same type of defense against Kansas State, I'm sure right now Lon Kruger will have somebody else coming back to help bring the ball up the court, just to inbound it. That was not a zone press defense. That was a man-to-man deny so that anybody coming to the ball would have a defender between the ball and himself. So they'll have to bring maybe an extra man up the court to see if that. Usually when you have a total deny defense, you kind of bring 3-4 guys and then see if you can throw the long bomb pass and end up with a layup. But I don't think Lon Kruger is quite that type of gambler.
Katie continues to talk it over in the Purdue huddle. This is a Purdue team that advanced to this round of the championship this year for the first time in the 80s, having been knocked out in the first or second round in their previous appearances in the 80s. And an overwhelming favorite in this game, but this man, Mitch Richmond, 26 points and heads-up play throughout.
He has delivered in all kinds of ways, not just scoring. He's helped them immensely on the boards and set up Will Scott several times for the 3-point bomb. Here's the denied defense once again. They'll bring Mitchell up.
Back to Richmond, quickly over to Steve Henson. Guarded by Everett Stevens. The clock shows 1:20.
It's important they don't foul right now. They're going to get another possession. K-State really has to come up with a good shot. That's tough to do if you're going to bring the clock down to about 5 or 6 seconds.
Shot clock at 20 right now. And an even minute in the game. Foul, Kip Jones. That will send Charles Bledsoe to the line, and they couldn't have picked a better man. If you're a Purdue fan,
30,
Bledsoe hitting 52% from the free throw line for the year.
Number 33, Mitchell,
57 of 109.
Well, they're going to gamble on that situation that Bledsoe will not make the fouls. They were going to get another shot at the basket if they played good defense, but they want to ensure themselves another possession and play the percentage that this man will miss the front end of a one-on-one.
And he did. Lewis rebound. Purdue with a chance for the tie or the lead.
And Mitchell is back in the ball game for Kip Jones.
Stevens fakes the three-pointer. They try and free up Lewis. That's off Bledsoe. Purdue ball, 44 seconds to go. And a fresh 45, which means the shot clock is now off. 44 seconds remaining. Timeout, Purdue. 69-67. Kansas State leads. $31,000+ on hand, 44 seconds remaining in regulation time. Purdue trails by 2. What are their options, Tommy?
Yeah, one of the things that Lon Kruger is rolling over in his mind that timeout is, who do I defend against? Normally you say, hey, this team's got a go-to guy at this point in the ball game, but Purdue's got 4 of them. So who do you defend?
They try and free up Stevens. Timeout. That's the last Purdue timeout.
Purdue.
They couldn't find an open man. They use a timeout. We're going back to Jim Nance in New York.
All right, so Kansas State and Purdue coming down to the wire. Now let's get you out to Seattle real quickly, where Iowa and Arizona and the Wildcats starting to open things up. Steve Kerr is hot in the second half, and it's a 15-point lead there for the Wildcats. Let's take a quick look at that game right now with Brent Musburger and Billy Packer at the Kingdome in Seattle.
Well, we
welcome those of you who have been watching the Purdue-Kansas State game. Here, Arizona has continued red hot, just as they were when you left, and it is 60-43 right now. Stolen, and this has been the kind of second-half performance put on by the Wildcats, who have lost only twice this year. The top gun in the West, if you will. That's Sean Elliott now, 14 for the evening. And if you want to look ahead, if this holds up, it would be Arizona against North Carolina for the West Region Championship.
Grant Dr. Tom had called one timeout to stop momentum. He can't give up another one now. That's the only offensive weapon he's had tonight to speak of.
3 by Armstrong. They have shot 15 threes here.
So it's Arizona impressively there over Iowa. Let's take you back now to Pontiac, Michigan for the final 44 seconds. Kansas State, the 4th seed, leading the top seed, Purdue by 2. Let's go back now to Vern and Tommy.
Gene Katie's team used its final timeout. They still trail by 2. The shot clock is off. 44 seconds remain in regulation time. Kansas State has 1 timeout left. And it will be Purdue's ball to inbound. And again, the options are really 4 here.
Well, first of all, they got to inbound the ball, which wasn't so easy the last trip. They're going to let Troy Lewis inbound at this time. And they're going to put Henson on him to try and distract him.
McCants gets the ball. And we're at the 40-second mark. Stevens kicks out. They look for Mitchell underneath. Fighting for position, stolen by Bledsoe.
Just a bad pass by Stevens. As Bledsoe was on the top side, the angle was not good for the pass. Take a look. When you pass from that side, I watch Bledsoe just step up on top and pick it away. You got to put it away, the pass to the away side of the defender, and Mitchell just let him come over the top.
Again, Bledsoe goes to the line where he is a 52% free throw shooter over the course of the season. He's been there 110 times. He's hit 57.
Let's look at his eyes. Oh, boy. I want to tell you, he walked away from the foul line that time after he made it with wonderment in his eyes. Did I do that?
The lead is 25 seconds to go. And Purdue is a good three-point shooting team. But Stevens loses the ball.
Number 30, Kip Jones in for Purdue.
That's the 9th Purdue turnover in this half.
Well, undoubtedly, somebody will try and foul Bledsoe once again or make a steal.
Henson fouled by Troy Lewis. Now they fouled the wrong guy. Here is the #1 free throw shooter in the United States, Steve Henson.
Number 12, Henson shooting for Kansas State.
For the season is hitting 109 of 118, but he missed his first 2 in tournament competition down in South Bend last week.
He's the guy that says thank you to the referee every time he shoots a free throw, right? When the referee delivers him the ball. Well, he did. Thank you.
He's only missed 9 all season. He's shooting 1 and 1.
What a tremendous win. That Gene Katie just sitting there saying, I really don't believe that we played as poorly as we did, but Kansas State helped them play poorly.
Five-point lead. 17 seconds left. Mitchell. Back to Stevens. Nailed it. Stevens started to call timeout. They are out of timeouts. 4 seconds to go. And a foul on Tony Jones will send Richmond to the line. A 2-point lead with 3 seconds remaining.
What a ball game this has been.
Purdue foul number 25,
Kansas State
Tony
showed
Jones,
so much
his fourth.
poise in this game, ran their offense. Will Scott played beautifully. And I think Richmond is the architect of this victory as we're looking at a very disconsolate mother,
Number 23,
Everett
Richmond
Stevens.
shooting 1-1.
Richmond 4 of
Number
6
30,
tonight.
Kip Jones in for Purdue.
26 points. Todd Mitchell goes out for what might be the final time. Richmond 79% for the season, 4 of 6 this evening. That is Lisa Cady, Gene's daughter.
Well, Gene Cady knows how to win, and I'll bet you he knows how to lose.
A three-pointer could tie it. Time has expired.